Hello and welcome to Nerds Amalgamated. I'm the professor and my co-hosts are DJ and Devi Boy. How are you guys enjoying the holiday shopping?
Lovely.
First day in, I feel so jaded.
Super enthusiastic. Oh man, it's a grand, fantastic time. Just Karens, madness, and depression, yes.
It's the most wonderful time of the year unless you work in retail.
So many people buy so many gift cards.
Do you have a problem with gift cards, DJ?
I don't know. Gift cards sound. Buying a gift card for someone, it sounds like I don't really know you that well, but here's some money just to let you know we're just friends, but we don't really know each other, that kind of thing.
I think it depends on the type of gift card. Like, if somebody gave me a gift card for JCar, then I know they'd put at least some thought into it because I can put it towards something I need from JCar for a project. If they give me a gift card to, I don't know, Big W, maybe I can buy clothes there, but that's about it.
This is what I think gift cards are stupid. Just give cash.
I'll drink.
Yeah, I get your point there.
The crazy part about gift cards is like you get you sometimes get that one gift card. It's like $10 from JB Hi-Fi, and you're like, what am I gonna do with this? $10 isn't worth much at JB Hi-Fi.
No, that's not a very good gift card. But what would you do to get revenge on someone who bought you a gift card like that?
Oh, buy him a very, very crappy movie. And I don't mean like the nowadays crappy movie. I mean like the 80s crappy movie.
Was Revenge of the Nerds a crappy movie? Because I thought people liked it when it originally came out. It's just that it hasn't aged well. But anyway, you should introduce the topic.
So, Seth McFarlane, of Family Guy fame, is planning to revive The Revenge of the Nerds. And he's going to be working with Keith and Kenny Lucas, the two identical brothers known for their roles in 22 Jump Street. And they'll be writing and starring in that movie, and they'll be co-writing the script with Alex Rubens, famous for his works in The Twilight Zone, Key and Peele, and Rick and Morty.
So, not a bad pedigree.
Yeah. And just to let you know, the upcoming version won't be a remake of the 1984 comedy. Instead, the contemporary reimagining will pontificate about today's nerd culture and what even constitutes a geek in the 21st century.
Okay, I'm not sure that works. Because being a nerd isn't like an outsider thing anymore. Like, I haven't seen the full movie, so bear with me, but from what I know of the original Revenge of the Nerds, it's about the outsiders getting back at the popular guys. But now being a nerd is cool, so I don't think it really fits in. Like, who are they going to get revenge against?
My hypothesis: business students.
Oh yeah, not the business students.
I don't know. I think mainly it might be the movie studios themselves, because you know how fans these days. That's more become these days. The fan culture is a huge thing now, and you know how it's always you hear about massive fan communities, Star Wars, just going and creating giant cosmic lithic, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. So if anything, I think it might be about that.
That makes sense.
But what I don't understand is like why you want to do a reimagining though. Like a reimagining it just takes the fun to make it contemporary. Just takes the fun out of the original movies.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean like we've seen time and time again people doing reboots, and they've basically do a hit and miss. Like remember Tron Legacy and how that turned out.
It was really good.
From what I know, people who have seen it loved it.
Yeah,
they must have done something wrong with the marketing.
Oh, they didn't market it at all.
Nobody
basically
saw it.
Yeah. No, it is a fantastic film, but yeah, they didn't market it one bit.
Is it a good sequel, though?
Oh, it's 5 million times definitely a good sequel.
Although, interesting fact about Tron Legacy, Jeff Bridges' face as Clue, they didn't use the one that was in Tron the movie. They used a different movie. Yeah, Jeff Daniels, that's right. It was against all odds, if I recall.
Okay, but that's just special effects.
Yeah. How do you see this pan out though? Like, you reckon it'll be if it's marketed well? You reckon we can see a resurgence in the nerd culture as the it thing?
I think more it's going to bomb.
Yeah.
Imagine if this becomes like the movie version of The Big Bang Theory.
Okay, I'm putting money down now. If it does, I bet $50 it won't. I'll give you $50, but I highly doubt it's going to become anything huge, because based on everything I know of how things currently are, it most likely, I honestly don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's going to be a big success. Just how TV shows are now what's going to be the main thing, a driving force. Movies are dying. Like, streaming services watch series. They don't watch movies. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my depressive talk. I'm very sorry.
There's Debbie Boy's like, thank you for visiting my TED Talk. Please go to the exit and get your complimentary wine. Can you imagine a couple of the Big Bang Theory members in that movie though? Like Sheldon Cooper and all those guys just doing cameos?
Probably.
And knowing Seth MacFarlane, like he'll put some Family Guy spin into this movie as well.
He does that to everything. It's getting a bit old. But apart from the Big Bang cast, who are the nerdiest actors on Earth who could play these characters?
Ooh, Rick Moranis?
Yeah, he's a bit old for the role though.
He could play as the old guys. Who else I can think of?
I reckon Scarlett Gisondo would do well. I've seen a few things with him playing a nerd in it, and they're all pretty good.
Yeah. I can see Kevin Smith playing a role in that movie as well. For those curious, Kevin Smith is a stand-up comedian, also a filmmaker and director. He's famous for one of his TV shows, Comic Book Men. That's what it's called.
Okay, well, I wasn't curious, but thanks anyway.
Okay. Maybe the guy from Die Hard. Is his name Justin Long, I think?
I have no idea who you're talking about. Has he done anything else?
Give me a second. Oh, yeah, he was in Jeepers Creepers, Dodgeball, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. He's the guy famous for the Apple Gets a Mac commercials.
Okay.
Once you see his picture, you'll...
Maybe they could use some of the guys from the Facebook movie from 10 years ago, but then you need to de-age them by 10 years, so...
Yeah.
Debbie, do you have any suggestions?
Who to choose?
Yeah.
Step one, you want to get unknown actors. So I'd go down to the local bar, and I would select 5 people. So you're going to make a movie, guys, and give them roles. That would be my ethical decision to hire cast.
Interesting casting choice.
And then we pay them $10 an hour, and then we just steal their likeness and use CGI.
I can imagine Seth MacFarlane just doing a TED cameo in that movie.
Oh, God. Probably.
Yeah, let's not go there. I don't know. It's going to have to be pretty different because, the culture's so different that the original Revenge of the Nerds wouldn't fly. Especially the scene, if I remember correctly, there's a scene where a character dresses up as the cheerleader's boyfriend and convinces her to sleep with him, thinking he's someone else, which does not fly with modern audiences.
Yeah, but nowadays, like, let's be real here. Do you really want to watch like a safe comedy nowadays? Like, people just want to. It's like we've lost the ability to just have fun, like go risque, go wild.
You can have risque comedy, but you can't have a scene like that and then portray someone as a good guy.
Yes, I think that's hit the nail on the head. Like, times change and cultures move on, and like something that flew in the put it this way, something that flew in the 1940s, right, or the 1900s, right, wouldn't fly in the 1980s. Just as something in the 1980s wouldn't fly culture now. So like things are always changing and adapting. It's not that we're losing our fun. It's just that different elements of fun change with each generation.
Yeah, I think one of the hallmarks of sort of modern comedy is that it's less acceptable to be funny by hurting people. And I don't know what's precipitated that sort of change, but can't really complain about that.
I mean, you guys have seen Chappelle. You guys have seen Dave Chappelle, right?
A bit.
Yeah, when he did his comeback on the Sticks and Stones stand up tour, it was really funny, and people loved it. The critics hated it to the point where they go on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave it 0 for
There's
the
a lot
critics.
of things the critics hate that the audience loves.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Critics don't always know what the audience wants. Like we were saying last week, find someone you like who has similar views to you and follow their advice. And then find someone else who you don't like to follow, just so you can, see what else is going on out there. You might find something you like. Yeah. So you sound pretty enthusiastic about this one, DJ.
I know. I would like to see some like remnants of the older humor in this one, but I don't know. I could be cynical and just go, like what Devi Boy said in his view of the movie. It might bomb harder than a sci-fi original.
Well, let's move on. How many PS5 consoles do you own, DJ?
Wow, I own 50.
That is 51 too many. You're a PC gamer.
Yeah, I caught them on the side of the road. Apparently, they fell off a truck.
A likely story. Oh, as long as you didn't use an automated bot, because UK members of Parliament have heard the great upset about the non-availability of recent technological releases and want to bring in a ban on automation for automated purchases. I'm actually all for this.
I mean, it's a good first step in the right direction.
Yes, I think humans need to be the one making the purchases. And what would be interesting to see about this is how it impacts the stock market. Because human-initiated transactions are a tiny fraction of the stock market. So I wonder if, bringing in a law against this would carry over to the stock market if people would decide to do that. So that would absolutely change the state of the economy overnight.
So can you imagine all those stores like Amazon and stuff get the okay, click on these images to prove that you're not a bot.
Yeah, you just farm them out to some kids in India. Pay them 5 cents a pop and they'll solve hundreds of them for you. I'm not joking, that's a thing they do. So there's obviously attempts to prevent people from purchasing bulk orders, but they're not effective enough. And adding a legal consequence, I think, is a really good way to really push the line there.
Yeah, but it does. I mean, the libertarian in me is saying, "Oh crap, more government intervention and things we do."
Yeah, the government might do that, but I don't think the people. I understand what the people like that are worried about. I don't think they need to jump up and down and get their knickers in a knot every time the government proposes a new law.
I mean, that's what usually happens anyway.
Yeah, they'll do it anyway. But something like this is basically consumer protection.
Yes, 100%.
And consumer protection is good.
Yahoo!
But I also wonder if only the UK does this and not the whole EU, because the UK is now leaving the EU.
No,
People will just bulk buy in the EU, then ship them into the UK. Although it's going to be harder without the free trade agreements.
So
yeah, and you'll have to pay duty on all of it. But
yeah.
Can you
if
imagine
you're selling at the double price, you can afford to pay the duty.
Can you imagine seeing people be like, "Where'd you get them?" "Oh, I bought them off somewhere."
Some Dutch dude came across on a boat. Are we going to see PlayStation smuggling rings?
Oh no!
Definitely.
I want to see how this law would be enacted in America.
Oh, the Americans would be much less happy about it.
Since World War III.
Yep, no commies getting between them and their games.
How dare you?
I mean, if it gets enacted in Australia, I mean, good for it, good for us. I think
Australia would react well to it. I think culturally, in most of the former British colonies would react well. I think the US in particular would react badly because they just react badly to any concept of government regulation.
Yeah. I mean, it depends how they market it though as well. Like,
yeah, like this is good for the consumer, not the business. So the businesses are going to be lobbying to not have it happen. Because you think Sony really cares that you didn't get a PlayStation when they sold all of them within 10 minutes? Not really.
Yes. Hang on. Hold me here. So the majority of PlayStation's sales have been taken up by scalpers, undeniably, right?
Yeah.
Now, I can't confirm where I heard this, but the basis of rumor going around is actually destroying PlayStation 5's viability. Because think about it. First,
no attach rate.
Pardon?
There's no attach rate because while these are sitting in scammers' garages or wherever they keep them, exactly. No one's buying games.
Yes, exactly. So I think some of the statistics, I'm just going to be 100% wrong, but it gives you an idea. So basically, I believe something like all the PS5 sold, only 1 in 3 PS5s actually has a game bought for it, right? So it's like 30% something. I can't remember exactly the statistics, but basically, you put there's a massive disproportion between people who actually have bought PS5 games than are PS5 sold, which basically means it's going to destroy PS5 as a viable platform because what's the point of owning a console when each game costs $110 and no one's bought any? Because there's literally no get their hands on a console because scalpers take them all.
And so consoles are sold at a loss to subsidize, to build the customer base for games.
Yes, exactly. So technically, Sony's losing a ton of money right now by having scalpers buy up all the consoles, right, and resell them high price. So if I've heard of some rumor they're trying now to try something out in the new year to try and stop it, because if it continues, then basically they've lost the console war the first year in.
Well, is Microsoft doing any better at the moment?
Well, no one really wants Xboxes. Everyone wants PS5s. Okay. So Xbox Ones are pretty easy to... Well, Xbox Series X are a bit more easy to come by compared to PS5.
Yeah.
At least in my humble opinion when I've been searching. Because the PS5 is the one you see going for outrageous prices.
That's true. I haven't seen a lot of news about the Xbox,
It's always the Sony, man.
Yep. Putting rootkits on your PC, Sony. Selling pretty good quality consumer goods, Sony. Creating a console because they got upset by Nintendo, Sony. Yeah, the original PlayStation was a CD add-on for Nintendo 64. Then Nintendo and Sony broke up, and Sony were like, right, we're going to go and do our own console with blackjack and hookers.
The ultimate parting gift. All right. Relationship over? Time to backstab.
Yep.
But no, I mean, Xbox is kind of just like, it's Xbox. There's always an Xbox around. You know, it does have the same... Okay, I mean, your Mountain Dew drinking, Doritos chewing, Game Boy Boys.
Mountain Dew, me.
Yeah, fair enough. You get your Xboxes, but Sony seems, I don't know. I guess Sony seems less sleazy of the two. You know, it is. They're more, but people think Microsoft and Microsoft. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people haven't put dollar signs in the Sony logo yet.
No.
Sony ripping consumers since 1990.
Longer than that.
Since World War II, man. Since World War II.
Sony have been doing some... they're not the greatest company. They've done some pretty dodgy stuff, especially the rootkit business. Basically, they put a virus on your CDs that you bought so that if you played them in a computer and tried to rip them, they could stop it. But, you're not just opening up your computer to Sony there. Anyone who finds out about that and can take control of it gets it. So I'll be curious to see what Sony is actually going to do to stop scalping in the next few months.
Maybe.
But fellas, we're missing one more big games company.
Huh?
Nintendo.
Nintendo doesn't have as many issues with scalpers. Scalpers seem to have only become... Well, they've been an issue in concert sales for years, but in game sales, they only seem to have become a huge issue in the past year, really.
I mean, there was some scalping towards the start of the Switch, but people see Nintendo as they're a staple of gaming business, but they're not. Nintendo does their weird, wacky console, whatever thing. People are like, eh.
You don't fight over Nintendo versus Sony.
No,
you get a Sony or an Xbox or whatever, and then a Switch.
Yeah.
Because they're so different. You don't need to fight over which one you're getting. If you're going to get two consoles, you always get the Nintendo option.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not always, but you get my point.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They're like, Nintendo's days shining in a console war was back during the 90s. They haven't been competitor to any consoles since, well, mid-90s, basically, when, okay, that's a lie. They haven't been a direct competitor. Well, actually, yeah, they haven't been a direct competitor since the PlayStation came out. The only time they were a direct competitor, really, was the Wii came out, but it's the Wii, you know?
And that's so unique and different.
It wasn't really
the main reason it sold well was because everyone wanted one because of the motion control.
You and your grandma.
Yeah, your grandma can play the Wii. That's how simple it is.
Hey, kiddo, let's go play some Wii.
Yeah, awkward naming aside.
About the Wii on you.
The Wii U, that was some really awful marketing. What is it? It's an upgrade to the Wii. So what do you call it? A Wii U. And what are you going to advertise? Well, it's going to look just like a Wii, but it's going to have a tablet. And we're not going to make it actually clear that it's a whole separate console. It just looks like an accessory.
I just keep my Wii around then. Oh, yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
But they set the game as Switch marketing. Holy crap, they did such a good job.
Yes, the Switch marketing was infinitely better.
Yeah, the marketing for the Switch was basically play this game anywhere you can go, even in the bus, even in the plane, even in the car.
And with your friends.
Yeah.
I said a clip when you plug in the controllers.
Yeah, and that was good marketing.
Yeah, because it turns out what people want to do with a handheld console is play it wherever they go. Yeah. And then you can plug your Switch in and make it a TV console. So you get both things.
Yeah, but with drifting apart from the topic at hand, with Nintendo, like how you reckon they might see this in the long run?
Well, since all of the Nintendo scalping was done earlier this year, they're laughing all the way to the bank. Like, people who are going out buying a console now and can't buy a PlayStation, you're buying a PlayStation for your kid for Christmas. You can't get one. What are you going to get? An Xbox? Well, they're almost as hard to get. So let's get him a Switch. Nintendo's loving it.
How do you reckon the games companies are going to react, though? Like Santa Monica Studios and like the American studios, I reckon they'll be kicking and screaming, going, "What the hell, man?" Yeah,
well, Devi had a great point that without people owning the console, nobody's buying the games.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that is the lifeline of any console. Like, if no one's buying games, then there's no console.
True, but then there's always people are now choosing to stream the games now with the PlayStation Live and not PlayStation Live, PlayStation Plus.
That's also more of an entirely separate console.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, you don't need a PlayStation to use PS Now. You can do it on any computer, probably on phones as well. And Stadia is like a $50 games console. I say console loosely, but
it's a theoretical console.
Well, yeah, it does the job. It's not what I would want for my own use, but it's dirt cheap. People will buy it because it's dirt cheap. And one of the things that killed the Vita is that nobody wanted to make games for it because nobody bought one in the beginning. It seemed to have a really low sales. So, yeah, there was no point making a game for it, so nobody bought it because there were no games, unless you're into JRPGs. And that could end up happening to the PS5, and that would kill Sony as a company. Well, Sony's gaming division, anyway. They're not in this business to lose money.
You mean the only viable profit to... I'm going to try it again. Sony's only profitable industry part. The only part of the company actually makes money.
Yeah, they're having trouble with their other branches as well at the moment, especially music, because streaming has killed traditional music purchases.
If only can go back to the early 2000s where they just sue the hell out of anyone downloading their songs.
Good old Napster.
Yeah, I was a bit young for Napster and LimeWire, but I can appreciate the memes.
Although I will say this though, with Sony, like even though Sony is dying, people still live and breathe by that name.
Same for Xbox fans. It's not like console players seem to have really high brand loyalty. So your PlayStation players, your Xbox players, they pick one side and stick to it, which is helped by backwards compatibility. If there was no backwards compatibility, I don't think they would have nearly the fan base that they do.
Although,
what's that? The console companies want to stop backwards compatibility? Yeah, they're not always the smartest.
Though I don't know. Though I think the Sony fan base is gonna be really, really loud with what happened recently.
Which is?
The release of Cyberpunk.
Well, that's terrible on both consoles. And the PC Master Race is just over here like, what are you guys on about?
Fuck you, the boys. Yeah, that's a bit of a firestorm happening there, isn't it?
Yeah, turns out it's terribly optimized, and the PR is an absolute failure because they promised any console purchasers a refund, and then Sony said, no, we're not doing refunds.
I literally squawked today. Well, okay, squawked is better. That's not the correct word. But, gawked? I don't know. Shocked. Because I was in EB Games and I had all the Cyberpunk stuff, of course, everywhere. All the merchandise, really pushing that hype. And I saw it. It's like, PC, $99. Fair enough. PS4, $110 in Australia.
Wow.
Nah.
So if you buy the PC edition, more of your purchase goes to the developers. Because then there's no Sony cut.
I see what's going on there.
I actually don't know that that's true. It sounds right, but that doesn't say much, really.
That being said, though, did you hear about Cyberpunk on the PC in terms of it may corrupt your save files if you loot too much, and the file sizes exceed up to 8 megabits.
8 megabytes. Bits is a transfer. Well, not a
necessary. Let's get technical and blow his mind. Come on.
Okay, so a bit is 1/8 of a byte, which is why when it's mostly used for transfer speeds these days. Because it turns out if you can say somebody's internet speed is 8 times faster than it is, then they're gonna love that.
Is this gonna be the next GIF and a GIF?
It has been for like 50 years now.
If you're into software development, then yes, this is a bigger battle than GIF and GIF.
I thought it was GIF.
It's pretty damn important. But I think it's more likely that it's capped at 8 megabytes rather than megabits, because nobody uses megabits when talking about storage.
Yeah.
Yes, please submit me store pages proving me wrong. For making a generalization. I dared make a generalization. Come at me.
What do you guys think, though? Like with this move that being pulled off from the Sony store.
Well,
it's the first time.
Yeah, it's one of the first time. Well, I'm sure Sony's pulled other games from their store in the past, but it's the first time a AAA game has been pulled from the Sony store, and for good reason. I'm kind of surprised this didn't happen with No Man's Sky, but I suppose even worse than that, CD Projekt Red, this is making them into a bit of a joke. They hid the footage of console gameplay so that they could pretend it ran better than it did.
Yeah, it's not going to look good, is it?
No.
And just
recently, a bloody embarrassment.
Recently,
it's coming out from leaked calls. It seems like the board pushed for it.
Not surprised.
Yeah, turns out the overall price of CDPR has gone down like 25%.
Oof.
And recently Xbox is offering refunds as well.
Yeah, so I believe they can turn it around and get goodwill back. I think they just need to take another 6 months to a year to fix it up, like with No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is still a bit of still doesn't have all the features they were promising, and it's been like 3 or 4 years now. But they won back a lot of goodwill from gamers by actually fixing it, apologizing and fixing it. It was they shouldn't have lied in their marketing. Neither should CDPR. But it's the next few months that will show what the long-term views on CDPR are.
100%, man. Like, for one, they destroyed their network connections with Sony and Microsoft. Like, obviously, their goodwill.
That was it. They lied about the console accreditation program.
Yes, which is not a good look.
That was the other reason why Sony's pulled them. And it's also kind of cast doubt on, like, it hasn't just hurt CDPR there. That's also made Sony look bad because they're letting people game the system.
Exactly. So, yeah, I feel like they're gonna... Honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen. If one thing for sure, getting another internet story and video, that's the most I know.
Okay, that being said, though, we can make fun of CD Projekt Red.
Look, I already know what his title's going to be. It's going to be some pun because he's done the fall. He's done the fall of '76, right? This is the fall of '78.
Oh no,
77.
77. Oops, yeah, 77.
Yeah, but at least we can all agree that at least Cyberpunk is doing much more an effort to fix the game than Bethesda did with Fallout 76. I mean...
Well, 76 wasn't as broken. Now, we can complain a lot about Bethesda for 76 because they deserve it. But they also didn't lie about their accreditations. They keep releasing content. The game, as it stands now, is surprisingly playable, according to people who are into that stuff.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
Apparently, some of the the new quests, or older quests now, the Wastelanders DLC, is some of the best Fallout writing Bethesda has ever done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's from Many a True Nerds video on it.
Yeah, not surprised, honestly, because they like that. Bethesda does have some great writers.
Yeah, they're sort of learning from their mistakes now. Hopefully that means Starfield won't be incredibly buggy if it ever comes out.
That is.
Yeah. What's going to come out first, Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield? I've seen no marketing for Elder Scrolls 6, so...
Wait, where? Really?
Well, at E3 last year, they played the Elder Scrolls 6 trailer but didn't mention Starfield.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, curiously, for you both gentlemen as game developers, do you guys think this is this looks badly on game development as a whole?
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Like, it must be really devastating, like, to see if the game that you worked on just get the news like, all right, we're gonna pull your game out of the Sony store. I mean,
oh no, 100%. It must be crushing for the development team. Obviously, they need more time, but management want to give it to them. I think I saw some video today about the hard-working devs are pretty pissed off at CD Projekt's higher-ups for obvious reasons. Because it needed like another year in the oven. But the hype, the marketing team, and the main higher-ups at CD Projekt just pushed it too much.
Yeah. Let's say the dust settles with all the mess that's occurred in Cyberpunk 2077. What would be the biggest cause of its downfall, in your opinions as game developers?
Well, if they don't fix their mistakes now.
Yes, exactly. If they don't do that, they are... Sorry.
If they ever want to be taken seriously again, they need to fix this.
Yes. If they don't...
hopefully if they don't, nobody will ever buy a CDPR game again.
Yeah. Because No Man's Sky gives a good turnaround. I think if they release a different game other than No Man's Sky, I think people will buy it now. 100%. There might even be a bit of hype for it. But as it stands now, CD Projekt Red really has lost all faith from the gaming community. Have really destroyed all trust. I mean, it's a shame because I was expecting this to happen, honestly, because it just was so much hype. the expectations just if you look at history, more often than not, something that's hyped up is not going to be a good quality product because people rush it, right?
Yeah. I
Only
never thought they could
times-
pull it off, but I
No.
never thought they'd screw it up this bad.
Like, okay, an open world adventure game, not open world adventure game, an open world game, right? If it's hyped for a Rockstar game, 100%, because obviously those guys have got decades of experience making games like that, right? CD Projekt Red doesn't. They only made Witcher games for like the last decade and a half, right? They've never done anything like this before, and to come into this much hype in that massive a project.
Well, Witcher 3 is pretty open world, isn't it?
True, but not to the extent people are wanting and comparing it to like GTA or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it was open world, but not GTA open world, which people were thinking from the marketing this was going to be like the next GTA. At least based off the videos and stuff and the comments I've been seeing on Reddit and things from very angry people, that's what they're comparing the game to.
Funnily enough, GTA 5 is still like when you can get it running, Cyberpunk is still a good looking game. But funnily enough, GTA 5 still looks surprisingly good, even after 7 years now.
Exactly right. Especially if you put some things on it. Looks good. Shaders and things like that.
It's just bit of a marketing mistake, but
it's a bit of an
hopefully they can bring it back. So we have kind of merged our two topics into one here.
Yeah, we kind of did a mergey here, didn't we?
Yeah. So I suppose we'll skip that one and move on to the science topic. Now, DJ will never know the pain of learning the code, but it turns out. So learning to program is similar to learning a new language because you learn new words and grammar and syntax, but your brain doesn't think so. So it actually, reading code triggers your multiple demand network, which is for cognitive tasks like maths and crossword puzzles. But coding does also cover a lot of different areas other than that, which is interesting because I'd always assumed it was pretty much just logic. It's a very formal... pretty much just a language. It's a very formal, logic-driven language, but it is functionally pretty much just a language. You could probably speak it to someone if you were trying to direct them to carry out a task in some cases. Preferably something like Python or BASIC for that, but I doubt you'd be able to talk someone through interpreting C code in their heads.
I mean, coding. The more I look at it, it looks so easy though. Like it looks so easy, but it must be needlessly painful.
Oh dear, you've triggered Devi.
Depends what you're after.
Painful. It's incredibly painful, but when you get that bug fixed, it feels so good.
I think it comes down to if you want to do like click and drag code or Scratch or something like that, fair enough, easy. Once you get into something like C# and C++, or God forbid, like deeper coding languages that go deep into the system level, like then things can get a bit hectic. There's a lot of things to manage, basically, right? It depends on what you're really doing. If you're doing like a simple if functions and stuff, just doing like general logic control, then that's pretty simple. But if you're going into like mathematical, calculations, doing shaders and all this stuff, then that's getting a bit difficult there. At least to me.
Yeah, I think so the article does point out the two schools of thought. Either you got to be good at maths to be a programmer, or you've got to be good at language to be a programmer.
Yes.
I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Mm-mm.
But it also depends on the kind of programming you're doing. So shader programming, incredibly mathematics heavy. But something simpler, like just algorithm design, is much more of a language problem.
100%. No, I agree.
Which, although I've got to wonder, there's a logic-based language for speaking to people, Logban, and it's designed to be a completely logical language. I don't speak it, so I can't speak to the veracity of that. But if it is, I wonder how it would, how learning Logban would interact with your brain compared to code or other languages. So they've done this by putting programmers in an fMRI machine and then ask them to review code and tell them what the code will do.
Please, okay, don't worry, sir. Just do your normal coding, and we'll just put the MRI scene on you. And don't worry. It's like you're just in the office. I imagine like you just get in there, starts typing away, and gets a thug, and it's like just flip the table, like just sensors going crazy. Oh Jesus, what have we got here?
Yeah, it's though they use Python and Scratch, so they're all pretty easy to read. And I wonder how that would also change if you were asking them to interpret C code like we were discussing earlier. So yeah, this activates both parts of your brain, not just left brain or right brain. But they didn't notice any, in the sample they had, they didn't notice any evidence of a specialized brain programming center, which they reckon could potentially develop in people who have been programming for longer. So next step, stick Donald Knuth in there. So that guy is a god of programming. Or John Carmack. What is going on inside John Carmack's head? I have no idea. John Carmack is the kind of guy who would solve P equals MP hard in a weekend for fun.
Wait, which programmers? John Carmack and
Donald E. Knuth, author of The Art of Computer Programming, which is basically a computer programming Bible, which he's still working on. He's been writing it for like 40 or 50 years now. It's sort of a Game of Thrones situation, but he actually produces content because he's showing people he's showing people his work for Volume 4. So it's definitely something that will come out one day.
Yeah, I mean, give it time. I guess they'll do more studies like this, given the results found here.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe sooner or later we'll see the average man do coding.
That's already a thing. I think anyone can learn to code, but only a subset can learn how to code well. Like, there are languages like Python and Scratch, which they use for this study, which are so simple that kids can learn them.
Can you imagine 50 years from now, in primary school, take your kids and be like, okay, son, we're going to introduce you to Computing 101.
They already do that.
Oh, yeah, that's right, with the coding classes in primary school.
There are coding classes in primary school.
Man, back in my day, IT classes was basically more about HTML.
Yeah.
Dreamweaver.
Okay, but your first computer was a VAX, so that's all I have to say about that. Actually, I wish it was.
Man.
I love VAXes. There was a great meme posted on the Australian Computer History Museum page about anti-vax people and the Digital Electric Corporation's VAX computer. So, what have you been playing this week, Davey boy?
What have you been playing, eh?
Or have you watched something or read something that you'd like to share?
Yes, I have. So I have gone on a bit of a media binge, and I watched The Dragon Prince.
What's that about?
So it's by the writers, well, it's not by the creators of Avatar, but it's by the main co-writer of Avatar Last Airbender.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels like Avatar. Well, not in the same way. It has the same, like, pace, if it makes sense. But like, the character's really complex and deep, and like, it's just fun. It's honestly just fun. It is. Okay, so let me try to explain this, but I'm gushing, and I want to try and make this point clear. Okay, so the story is, there's two kingdoms, well, multiple kingdoms, but there's two different parts of the world. One half is all humans with 4 kingdoms. The other half is all mythical creatures, etc. It's mainly elves. And how it is basically the two are at war, right? So the story begins with your main characters, Ezra and Callan, and they are the sons. Well, one's son. What do you call it? He's a son, but he's a different family. Come from living under that dad now, adopted son. But basically, they're living together. They're the sons of the king of that castle. One day, moon elves come and attack, and their father dies. This is like the first episode, so there's not really much spoilers. And they discover a thing called the dragon egg. Now, this is a mythical egg, which is the next king of the dragons, which basically controls the border between the two worlds and might stop the war, which is currently the whole fighting's over. The humans stealing that egg. So it's up to our main characters and Rayla, who is one of the elves. Things happen. They get together and they must go back to the borders and deliver the egg to the dragon, the dragon queen, basically. That was a terrible explanation. I'm so sorry. Like, it's good. It's fantastic, honestly. Look, it's on Netflix. It's 3 seasons so far. Netflix just booted it not booted it, but they just what do you call it? They've just accepted they're going to do the whole trilogy, which is going to be up to like 7 seasons. So honestly, just give it a try. Like, it is a kids show, but it's so well done that it doesn't necessarily need to be for kids. Like, it's so well done, it can be for all ages.
Okay, what would you rate it?
10 out of 10. 5 out of 5. 10 out of 10. 5 out of 5. 1,000 out of 1,000.
Wow, that's a lot. Well,
do
you have any gripes with the series? Like any like?
Nope.
Nope, no gripes.
No gripes, man. Like, yeah, it's fantastic, man.
And what have you been up to, DJ?
In terms of whether games and media consumed, I have just been watching the Attack on Titan final season and 3rd episode in, and my god, I feel like I need to rewatch the whole series just to get the story back again into my head. But basically, it's the conclusions of the Titan Human War, and so many characters are coming and going. Man, more than Game of Thrones, to be honest.
Okay, and what do you rate it?
So far with the episodes, 3 episodes in, I will give it 9 out of 10.
And I've been playing Quake Live, which is a online optimized version of Quake 3 Arena. I don't know why I insist on playing Twitch shooters when I suck at them.
Maybe you're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, so it was fun. I'd give it 3.5 out of 5. But, it's just Quake. There's Quake 3 Arena. People have been playing that for decades now, so yeah. I don't know what I can say that hasn't already been said. But if you're into Twitch shooters, it's worth it. So what do we start doing out of 10 for some reason?
I don't know. Debbie Boy was the one that started saying 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I always just do things out of 10 because it I don't know. It's just how I do it because there's more of a range of options based on how you feel, right? Because it's like if you feel meh, you can go 5 out of 10. But if you do it out of 5, then it's like, well, it's either a 4, which then it's like it's rating it really high, or you do a 3, and it's like, but kind of bad.
All right, you've convinced me. Let's go to a 1,000-point scale.
What? Okay, I'll do 5,500 out of 1 million.
That's a really low scale, a really low score.
Yes.
So we'll stop for a quick break, and then we'll be back with the new short format shout-out section. For our shout-out tonight, we have on the 17th of December 2020, Jeremy Bulloch, known best for playing Boba Fett in the original Star Wars movies, passed away at 75. Bulloch also played Q's assistant, Smithers, in 2 James Bond movies. As seems to have been usual for characters in the original Star Wars, Bulloch played the human in the suit, while his voice came from Jason Wingreen, who died in 2015. He was unaware of Fett's demise prior to filming and was disappointed because he wanted to do more with the character. He said it was the most uncomfortable role he played, and putting on the jetpack was very heavy. I bet it would, because that's, sand gets in the cracks in your armor and then it just chafes, and apparently they couldn't use the Sarlacc pit properly because of the sand. Bulloch drew inspiration from Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name. In 2014, Bulloch recalled when he said to an Imperial officer before leaving Cloud City with Solo frozen in carbonite, "Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold." I'm messing up his mess-ups. Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold when he actually said, "Put Captain Cargo in the Solo hold." He died in Tooting, London. And on the 18th of December 2020, it was the 26th anniversary of the Grotte Chauvet discovery. I'm butchering the French there. Found on the same day in 1994, the cave of Pont d'Arc, known as Grotte Chauvet Pont d'Arc in Ardèche, is one of the most significant prehistoric art sites and is on the World Heritage Site list. It features some of the best preserved cave paintings in the world and other evidence of Upper Paleolithic life. The cave was first investigated by three spelunkers. I'm just going to call them that.
You're having a rough name for names.
Speleologist. There we go. Eliette Brunel Deschamps, Christian Hilaire, and Jean-Marie Chauvet, for whom it was named after half a year after an aperture known as Le Trou de Baba was found by Michael Rosa, aka Baba. The paintings were made in the there are a lot of words I've never seen here. Aurignacian period between 30,000 and 32,000 years ago. You know, if you go to see the paintings there, the oldest paintings there in the cave are 36,500 years old, apparently, based on a 2020 review of the data using a new radiation calibration curve. But if you go to see the Chauvet caves, you can't actually see the real thing. They've built a replica to stop people damaging them.
I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, they are people love to vandalize stuff. I mean, there was always you always hear stories of like ancient caves being vandalized and stuff. So
yeah, it looks like it was only replicated in 2015 though. So I guess people were going into the actual cave for a long time before that. But yes, people are bad about preserving archaeological evidence. So, and on the 21st of December, tonight, as we're recording this, is it cloudy? It looks like it might be cloudy, bugger. There is a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, the first of its kind in 400 years. So this is one of the possible conjunctions believed to be the star seen by the wise men traveling to visit Jesus when he was, as the traditional story goes, the wise men saw a star in the west and followed it across until they came to Bethlehem. But with modeling, astronomers have discovered a couple of possible stars and conjunctions that could have been the star that they were following. And on the 21st of December, 1824, onto remembrances, on the 21st of December 1824, we have James Parkinson, an English surgeon, apothecary, geologist, paleontologist, and political activist, best known for his 1817 work on an essay on the shaking palsy, in which he described paralysis agitans, a condition later renamed Parkinson's disease by John Martin Charcot. Parkinson was the first person to systematically describe 6 individuals with symptoms of the disease that bears his name. Parkinson believed that the tremors were due to lesions in the cervical spinal cord, but modern researchers debunked that. After working in medicine, he turned to nature, collecting specimens and drawings of fossils towards the end of the 18th century. He also wrote his own books about fossils. He belonged to a school of thought, catastrophism, that believed that the Earth's geology and biosphere were shaped by recent cataclysms. And on the 21st of December 1890, for our famous birthday, we have Hermann Joseph Mueller, an American geneticist, educator, and Nobel laureate, known for his work on the physiological and genetic effects of radiation, aka mutagenesis. He warned of long-term dangers of fallout from nuclear war and nuclear testing, which resulted in greater public scrutiny of these practices. It's pretty scary that they used to set off bombs and have a spectator sport.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see that, but I'm happy that they're not doing it anymore because it's really bad for you. In 1926, he made a series of major breakthroughs. In November, using 2 experiments with varied doses of X-rays, he made the connection between radiation and lethal mutations. He entitled his paper "The Problem of Genetic Modification" and presented at the 5th International Congress of Genetics in Berlin. The other thing that is mentioned in the notes here, well, he also pointed out that shoe sellers using fluoroscopes, which are basically live X-rays. You'd put your foot into a shoe and put it in a box, and they could look through a viewfinder and see your bones in the shoe and review the fit. Except not a huge issue for your average person. Huge issue for the guy who has to stand there all day doing it. In 1946, he received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his discovery. He argued that no threshold dose of radiation existed that did not produce mutagenesis. The Drosophila basic units of inheritance, their chromosomal arms, are named Mueller elements in his honor. It's interesting. Some people believe that a small dose of radiation is actually good for you, and it keeps getting debunked, but people seem to keep thinking that. So, it says something about people. And for our last one, our event of interest. On the 21st of December 2010, Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus came to cinemas. The movie features Gary Stretch and Jaleel White, and the plot summary is a megalodon battles with a Crocosaurus causing massive destruction. The US Army has to try to destroy the havoc-causing, creating monsters. The film is a sequel to the 2009 film Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, and is the second installment in the Mega Shark series. The original idea for the sequel involved Mega Shark battling a Gigantosaurus. That is so bad.
I mean, sci-fi movies back then, come on, they were funny. Remember, what's that movie about a tornado and a shark?
You have to ask that.
I know, I was just taking the piss.
Okay, I was hoping you were smarter than that. But that's all we have for tonight. DJ, where can they find us?
They can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's not canon.com. We're an archive of our old episodes, and we've also got newer podcasts as well.
Do you have any to review for us this week?
This week we have The Paranoid Strain.
That's the new conspiracy theory one, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, actually, the podcast name is Jesuit Fearful, but yeah, it's The Jesuit Strain is the episode. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I think you muddled that up a bit. Can you say that again?
The podcast title is Jesuit Fearful, and the episode's called The Paranoid Strain.
Okay, so what's Jesuit fearful about?
Jesuit Fearful is basically historical political conspiracies, basically.
Okay. Are you sure you've got that the right way round?
I think so. Is it the paranoid? I'm getting confused with this name.
DJ, I'm about to put my head through the table. It's called The Paranoid Strain. The episode you're looking at must be called Jesuit Fearful.
I could be the other way around, though.
No, look at that website, theparanoidstrain.com.
Dang it.
You don't get to be that wrong in front of me, DJ. So that's all for tonight. We'll see you next week. Look after yourselves and stay hydrated. And stay out of Sydney.
Stay happy, stay nerdy. Hooroo.
Bye-bye, guys.